Interestingly, despite this UX 300e being Lexus's first pure electric car, the brochure for it still has a page dedicated to the manufacturer's self-charging hybrids. It seems that, despite Lexus finally joining the EV party, it can't quite let go of what has been its main USP these past few years. Still, better late than never. This is the fully electric UX. You can still buy a hybrid one, with prices starting from £40,900. Ours is the mid-level Premium Plus pack at £44,400. All versions get a 54.3 kWh, floor-mounted battery and single, 201 bhp motor powering the front wheels. The 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint takes 7.5 sec, and the top speed is limited to 100 miles per hour. Range: 196 miles. Our test car showed 162 miles in mild weather, or 182 miles once we killed the air con. Those figures aren't amazing. The slightly pricier Polestar 2 manages 4.7 sec and a theoretical 292 miles, but Lexus says it was a choice between cost and range. All of its hybrids are modular, so it could have put more battery oomph in, but chose this size as a compromise over a punchier price. What's it like? In practice, it's difficult to see why Lexus didn't do this before. If ever a powertrain fitted the Japanese firm's zen-like attitude to driving, it's electricity. The noise isolation is particularly impressive in this car, as there's minimal road grumble and the suspension muffles any bumps trying to disturb the inner tranquility. It's a very calming car. Not that it's slow. The headline figure isn't captivating, but it never feels sluggish on a journey, and also keeps pulling well, even at motorway speeds. Being front-wheel drive, you have to tread carefully, mashing the throttle out of a junction, as it'll spin an inside wheel. Equally, there's a bit of thumb kickback if the steering is loaded up, and you hit a mid-corner bump. Blame those front tires for having to do too many tasks. It's not an engaging car to drive, unlike the aforementioned Polestar 2, because the steering is numb, and you don't get much sense of what's going on underneath. But Lexus knows its market and aims for comfort. In that respect, it does a better job. There is a brake mode, whereby you can increase the regenerative braking, and with 3 different settings via the paddles behind the steering wheel, but you can't drive on a single pedal. The regen power isn't that strong. Inside, the electric UX still comes with the firm's touchpad controller, and a digital screen mounted high on the dash. At least the touchpad falls easily to hand just in front of the armrest, but it's a real fiddle to work accurately, and is too distracting to use on the move. To be fair, that same armrest contains buttons for the radio, media and volume, so the most common operations can be controlled with physical switches. The infotainment itself works okay without doing anything radically different. Again, Polestar's design and operation feel more up to date. The screen feels a bit pokey, as the 7.0 inches offering in this Premium Plus model sits within the overall housing of the 10.3 inches multimedia system on the Takumi trim. If you opt for the top-spec model, admittedly a £5,350 increase, you also get the excellent Mark Levinson sound system, head-up display, LED headlights, sunroof and sat-nav. A special mention should go to the seats. These are wonderfully comfortable with just the right amount of support, and also come with ventilation and heat as standard in this trim. Should I buy one? The UX 300e is an interesting option, and has some lovely touches. The materials across the dash are great, but that isn't enough to challenge the class best as others drive better. As such, like many a Lexus, it won't sit at the top of the sales charts, but then the firm doesn't often chase those figures. Nor, to be fair, in the current climate of EU fines for polluting manufacturer fleets, does Lexus need this to sell incredibly well in order to drag down its fleet average. Thanks to the brand's years of hybridization, it's not close to breaching the CO2 limits that some manufacturers have had to be wary of. As such, it can build the UX 300e as its customers want it, not as the masses would like it. A quirky, left-field choice.